Today we're going to look at how to take apart a bulb of fennel. We're going to look at all the different cuts and also how to be as thrifty as possible with that bulb of fennel. If you've ever seen it growing in the field, it sits just above ground level and it's kind of got this riot of fronds that come out. Now, ultimately it's going to want to bolt into flower, and as soon as it does, the bulb becomes woody and tough. So we kind of pick it where the fronds are up, but before it wants to push and create a flower and bolt. Now, it's layered up almost like an onion, but it's actually not from the same family. In fact, it's from the same family as the carrot, and its defining feature is a pronounced kind of licorice aniseed taste. Now, you can eat it raw or you can eat it cooked. The more you cook it, the mellower and sweeter and less pronounced that aniseed flavour becomes. So you can slow cook it and it can be kind of soft and unctuous, or you can keep it completely raw and it will be crisp and that aniseed licorice flavour will be much stronger. So the first thing to do, at the top you've got all of these stalks and these fronds. You want to clip them away before you start cooking, but actually you don't want to waste any. You cut away those stalks from the top and the fronds come away too. Now those fronds, you don't want to put them in the bin. They are a perfect garnish if you're making a salad or you're making whatever dish you're putting this fennel in. Keep those fronds to one side. Think about them like soft herbs like parsley or coriander. Just treat them exactly the same. You can chop them and throw them across the dish right at the end, so don't lose those fronds. Now these stalks, they might be a little dry at the end, so you can clip away the dry end, but actually you don't need to get rid of them. If you're going to dice your fennel and cook it down inside a dish or slow cook it, you can just take those stalks and you can roughly slice them or finely dice them, and they're perfectly usable. They're just a little bit tougher than the main body. Sometimes it might be a little bit marked, it might be a little bit scuffed on the outside. You could discard the outside, but actually that outside layer is fairly thick and usually quite good, so you might want to cut away any unsightly bits rather than waste the whole outside. And then the first thing to start with is to cut it into half. It gives you a flat surface to lay down onto your board and makes any kind of prepping much easier, so it's not rolling around the board. You're less likely to cut yourself or hurt yourself. Now the first thing you might want to think about doing with it is to chop it and dice it almost like you would an onion or celery, and you can use that and cook that down as the base of a stew or the base of a paella or a risotto. And so treat it just like an onion. It's got a root end, it's got layers, so you're going to want to cut in towards that root end without cutting to the root. The root helps to hold it together, and then you can just cut across down towards the root and you'll get a rough dice, and that's perfect for cooking down slowly in a pan. So the next and probably most likely cut if you're going to be cooking the fennel is to cut it into wedges. Now you want to clip away the very end of the root, maybe take a little bit of the tough core of that root out with a little V-shaped cut, but leave enough of that root that it can hold the piece together still. And then all you want to do is work across the bulb and cut it into wedges. Now these wedges are perfect for roasting, and you can cut them thick or thin depending on how long you're going to roast them for. So they will cook down for a long time and go very, very soft. I would say if you're going to do that in a roasting tray, cover it halfway through so that they don't brown before they soften. Okay, the next cut we're going to do it finely sliced to eat raw. Now if you're using fennel raw, it has a tendency to discolour slightly after it's been cut. So if you're not going to use it immediately, the best thing to do is to transfer it into a bowl of acidulated water. And all I mean by that is a bowl of water with a good squeeze of lemon juice, or you could use vinegar in it, and it stops the bulb discolouring. In order to eat it raw, you don't want it to be too much of a challenge, so the thinner you can cut it, the better. Again, clip out that root and just remove the very bottom of it, so that tough core. Now the first cut that's most often used is you go across the bulb, the same way you would do with the wedges, and you very finely slice them. So you get these thin slices with a nice curve to them. If the root holds them together a little bit, all the better, so they look beautiful. And they're cut thinly enough for them to be easily eaten inside a salad. So I'll throw those straight into the water to stop them from browning. So the other way I might slice it for raw is down the bulb towards the root. So you can finely slice it, you can keep the whole root intact, and you slice towards that, and you just keep moving down towards the root, and you get equally thin slices, but just a slightly different cut to it. Now the advantage of doing it like this is that if you dare, you can use a mandolin and you keep that root, and that root keeps your fingers safe, and you just slice down on the mandolin. Depends if you've got one, depends if you're brave enough to use one. That's a good way of getting proper wafer thin slices of fennel. Okay, so that should be 4 good cuts for your fennel. That's 2 raw and 2 for cooking, as well as having the fronds and the stalks from the top. So really the only waste you're going to get from the bulb is a little bit of the root that you've clipped out and the very end of that root. The rest of it is perfectly usable. Thank you for watching. Please don't forget to like, comment or subscribe, and please hit the notification bell to be the first to watch our new videos each week. Thank you.